handle yourself from campus to a workplace determines whether you remain there. If you've listened to all the speakers, Mr. Shoba, who's a COO is a very big position in a city, started at a college. Mr. Butelezi, who's the chief director, started at a college. How they handled themselves when they went to the workplace determined their future, and today they are senior managers and executives in the industries that they chose. And let's give another round of applause, colleagues. I normally say, Mr. Mediro, when I did my internship, I did what I did not study for. It used to be something that I hated so much, but it taught me to be humble in life. It taught me to be very humble in life. When you leave an institution and you're in SRC, you're arrogant, man. You expect things to come easy. Then you are told, no, we've hired you. You tell your friends, no, I work for higher education. Only when to get to work, they tell you, no, we are going to pack question papers. So it's, they're even scared. I was even scared to tell them that, when I pack question papers, if you don't know the pain of packing 70,000 two-page question papers with 50 different centers, you will never understand how painful that. Because one mistake, you give Ingwe paper 1, when they wanted paper 2, you have leaked the question paper. One mistake. One human mistake. So imagine the concentration there. It used to be like a gym, that thing. When it's time for exams, especially the bigger exams, mistakers, yes. I then learned to appreciate that life will humble you. You need to have an ability to understand your environment and acclimatize to it. Once you do that, you start to love your job. Now, we are actually doing very well, colleagues. We are on our second last item for the day. So we're going to have a panel. The panel will be moderated by a fellow who shares the same name with my daughter, Kamvelihle Kalani. He's a product of the sector. He's now working for SABC, but all these marketers that are here, he used to do their job. He's one of those people we can proudly say, Mr. Mediro. And it's now if I refer to you as a regional manager of the Eastern Cape, is the product of the Eastern Cape region. So he will moderate our panel discussion for today. The topic would be advancing inclusion of persons with disabilities in the new generation of occupational programs. The panel members will be Ms. Masingita Maluleke, Mr. Kholihlahla de Villiers, and Ms. Chamano Netononda. I apologize if I did not pronounce it well, man. But I know after you teach me, I'll never make a mistake about it. Now, please allow me to welcome our panelists first. I'll start with Ms. Netononda. Let's give a good round of applause. And we're very specific because she's our colleague. She's a colleague of ours from Bembe TVET College. You can tell her, but let's give her another good round of applause. Can take the second. Yeah, not this one. This one. That one. Thank you so much. Can we also allow me to call on stage Mr. Rolihlahla de Villiers? You see, you're too popular, Mdal. As a pondwen. Also, allow me, colleagues, to call on stage Ms. Masingita Maluleke. Give her a good round of applause. More than one don't. That's right. Let's squeeze him in. Now, allow me, colleagues, to bring our very vibrant young man who's making TVET colleges very proud in terms of South African mainstream media. Kamvelihle Kalani. Thank you so much. TK, please assist with the mics.
Thank you. Oh my God. Yo. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kamvelihle Kalani, as it has been mentioned. I'm from the Eastern Cape, born and raised in the Eastern Cape. All right, it's an honor for me to be actually moderating this conversation, simply because I grew up in the township, and unfortunately, people living with disabilities were not seen as people. And whenever we were being naughty, we were always referred to people living with disabilities. Ngongati, zizinto zokoyikisa. So I think this conversation, I'm extremely excited to be dabbing into it. Also because in the Eastern Cape, I'm the director of the first of its kind pageant for people living with physical disabilities. Just ground rules. Meanwhile, I think, are we going to be only using one mic for my panel members, or should I be, okay. Just ground rules. Meanwhile, we are still waiting for the mics for my beautiful panel members. Probably I look like an age mate, right? I'm not Mr. Sonti. I'm not going to be calling you out by your name. I don't know you, but I will respect you. I guess I will expect as much from you. If you so happen to do very shady stuff and that would just say a lot about the kind of leader you are. All right, Mr. TK. Okay, I think now we can start the conversation. Could you just give me a round of applause? Just me. Thank you. Right. All right, now, I guess you can just take out your notebooks and your pens so that you are able to note everything that will be said. We have approximately 40 minutes to do this, and that is inclusive of the Q&A. Let me start with you, Ms. Chamano Netononda. I hope I did not butcher your name, but how's your heart this afternoon?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be here, sharing this information with you, especially in the Department of Disability Inclusion in our TVET sector. Disability, it's a heartbreaking issue or heartbreaking matter. I'm very much excited this afternoon.
Wonderful. Now moving to Mr. Rolihlahla de Villiers. How is your heart and how do you feel this afternoon?
Good afternoon. This is my,
Yeah, it's on, sir. You can just speak.
my voice is always a disgrace. Please accept that. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me correct the program director first. There are no people living with disabilities.
All right.
Those are not our girlfriends. Those are not our husbands.
Okay.
Disabilities, no. So we are only people with disabilities.
With disabilities.
I'm happy to be here to educate, to teach, to learn. And that makes me very happy.
Lovely. Thank you, sir. A round of applause. Now, Maluleke Masingata, how's your heart? How do you feel this afternoon?
Afternoon, everyone. It is Masingita.
Oh, Masingita.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Very important to pronounce it the way it is.
True.
It means
True.
miracles.
True.
And sitting here, I feel like a very big miracle, a blessing. And I'm honored to be in this space with dynamic people, great minds, young people,
Yeah.
the future of the world. So my heart is happy, it's dancing.
Thank
as
you
a
so
young
much.
person myself.
A round of applause. Now, you are an SWGC graduate. You're part of the Dyslexia Network, also working for the South African Weather Services. What is the disability that, please excuse me if I use the incorrect language, because again, this is a platform where we learn from today moving forward. And it starts with the language, how we say terms the correct way. What is the disability that you are living with, and what does it mean? But again, correct me if I phrase that question incorrectly.
Okay, as Sir just said, I don't live with it because if I did, sometimes I could leave it at home
Okay,
because it's not my husband.
sure.
So I'm a young person with dyslexia.
Okay,
So dyslexia is a disability that affects your reading and writing. So children that were seen stupid, playful, ignorant, and they could not read. Most parents, and most teachers would struggle with the Masingita, the little Masingitas in primary, because we were the kids that were called stupid. Because then you can't read, you cannot articulate proper in spelling, and you cannot put graphics words into sentences. But you are very smart, you are adequate, like I speak.
sure.
You've got 10 toes, 10 fingers, 2 eyes. Your brain works like any normal child. The difference is that you cannot read and write to save your life. So that's what Masingita has. That is dyslexia. So I was born with dyslexia, grew up with it, and strived through life. I've never failed a grade. Sitting here as a former student at Southwest Gauteng College, at some point, do it for my rights, of course, not for chaos, because I was not getting the right support. But because then I now understood, most of the people with dyslexia don't know what they have. Parents would think it's witchcraft. It's the same as autism. Because it's physically not seen, people assume bauloile. Your mothers, your grandmothers would think this child is too playful, this child is just not learning enough. And the problem is you are learning enough, you are struggling to read, you are struggling to write. Others would say, no, if you've got dyslexia, you see the words are moving. No, I don't see words moving. I can see the words, but I cannot put them as are. I cannot write your name to save my life. I can't even write my children's name to save my life. Then you get someone with dyscalculia who cannot pronounce numbers or write numbers. That person has dyscalculia. So you see, you've got your Richard Bryanston, you've got your Einstein. These people are dyslexic, but we are very intelligent. And then in South Africa, then you've got me, Masingita Maluleke, who's dyslexic and still advocating. Yes, I work for the South African Weather Services through being a student at Southwest Gauteng College, Roodepoort campus. I did my in-service training at South African Weather as an intern, got in, struggled. It was not easy because there was no support. And having to struggle through that, finally, I got an interview as a business administrator. Then I got appointed as a permanent employee at South African Weather Service in 2022. I sit as an advisor to the Minister of the Department of Education, reviewing White Paper 6. So I advocate quite a lot about disability, and I educate, as you say, because education will change and make a difference. So I go to colleges, but that's, as I said, as a consultant. It's my after hours like now. But every morning, Monday to Friday, I'm at the South African Weather Service. But you will not see me on TV, ne? I do not tell, no.
Sure.
Because tomorrow people will say how, Masingita said she works at South African Weather. My uncle, when I first started, was like, so you go on TV? I'm like, no, I'm not but I'm the one behind the scenes. We sell the data. We are the ones that get revenue for South African Weather.
Sure.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, round of applause. But now, I would love to know again from you, just before we go into the workplace, let's come back again to the Southwest Gauteng TVET College. The culture, the livelihood, as a student, how was that for you? In the classroom, social life, how was that?
You're taking me back. That was in 2015. Eh? So when I first started, I will cut my story short. So when I first started, the unit was not in existence, but the idea was there. And I think there was 2 or 3 students. And when I went, now I was bold and confident. Unlike primary, we don't talk about that one. I went and I said, I want to register. I've got dyslexia. I can't write. So I always say I can't write. And they said, we'll assist you to register. They took me to one Mem Dlovu. At that time, she had a disability unit. She assisted me registering. She did everything. They just gave me forms and said, take this to the doctor. Took it to the doctor, came back, applied for NFSAS. I did nothing. And that's how great it was once in your life to get help that way as a student. Then I started studying, got books, went to the library, and I said, I want an audio book. And I've got a lipstick like now. And the man was like, audio, for what? I'm like, I can't read. So I need this book in audio so I can listen to it so that I can pass. And that's where the challenges were, because there were no audio books for most books. And now, went back to Mem Dlovu and said, do you know you don't have audio books? So how am I supposed to learn? Then they researched, even went to UJ to find out how UJ does it. And now they started investigating, invested in saying, okay, UJ has a disability unit, they've got audio books. And I remember I went to her when I did my own research, and I said, ma'am, you know, universities in their own corners, they use Edit Microsoft Edit. It's a company that sells assistive devices for people with disabilities. And they went to Edit Microsoft, they spoke to them, and the college did very well because they educated themselves on how to assist us. Then they gave me a scribe because they asked me. They didn't think, what is it that Masingita would need? And that was very important because most people assume and they never do the right thing because they do things in your behalf saying, okay, no, Masingita would need this, but I didn't say I need that. Ask me, I will tell you how to teach me. Then I told them, I need a scribe. When I wrote matric, I had a scribe that wrote and I answered. Then we got a scribe for my assessments, exams, assignments, before technology. Then we moved into technology where we had printers that would scan the books. You would have the book on your laptop and then got a laptop that could read back to you. Then we upgraded the system, then we got reader pens. I just forgot it. It's nice, it's a nice stylish pen. You slide it on your book, it reads out loud, it has a dictionary. So because dyslexia is blind to word and paper, so we are treated like blind people when it comes to the reading and writing. So the college then started supporting in that sense because then they bought the assistive devices, then to a point where they now launched a fully functional disability unit, because our privacy is our right. And most students don't come out and they do not disclose. And that's the biggest challenge we see in most places, because a student is then registered. We were talking about it now when we were doing our research, reviewing white paper 6. It is a big challenge that you find in 1 year, there are students, 10,000 students are enrolled. 5,000 of those 10,000 are disabled, but they never disclosed. And when I say disclose, a person can see a blind person walking with a white cane, but that person has never come to the office and disclosed that I'm disabled. So you cannot say, well, now go to disability unit. No. That person has a right to come and disclose in a private setup where no one will hear, because in class, sometimes you get discriminated. You see, let me stand up. I just want to make an example. Sure. You look at me. Do I look like I've got a disability? I'm wearing heels mostly. You can see my 2 feet. You can see. And then I appear as a person with a disability, because you expect a wheelchair to walk in. You expect her crutches. You expect. So in class, some students would never understand. Hence, you need your privacy, especially when you write exams. Because when you get a scribe, you need a private place where you'll be comfortable to express yourself the way you need to. So Southwest Gauteng College, can we give them a round of applause?
Yeah, man. Thank you. And I think also your demonstration really seeks to educate us that there are different kinds of disability. We've got your physical, we've got your psychosocial, we've got your neuro diversity. But now, I would love to bring in the conversation Ms. Chamano Netononda from the Vembe TVET College. I'd assume that you are part of the panel because you have a beautiful story to tell as far as the inclusion of people with disabilities. Maybe perhaps tell us how far or where are you as the college?
Thank you. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Thank you so much. My story is a little bit longer. Maybe I can start way back when I was still young. I was 22 years old when I started advocating for people with disabilities. I had that passion. I was still a young girl, so it was good. I also raised funds for people with disabilities by selling the casual day merchandise and all those stuff. So I remember one of the days when a parent came to me and then she said, hey, I have a problem. I've got twins, and this other one is doing well, and the other one is not doing well. Can you please advise me? What should I do so that I can support this other girl? So I told her that I'll get a school in Polokwane for her daughter. I did everything, and then the daughter ended up going to Piet Joubert in Polokwane. It was an intellectual school for students with intellectual matters. So I was 22 years old. At 28, I gave birth to my son, the firstborn son. He was all right, but along the way, he became disabled. It was unfortunate. Little did I know that God was preparing me for something that was coming up. So I was working at a private school, so I had to move to a public school. I chose a special school. I went to Chilizini Special School, where I worked for 3 years, and I also took my son there. So from there, I applied a position at the TVET College. I went to Vembe TVET College in 2019, and then I carried on advocating for people with disabilities, but not because I have a son with disability. I started it before I gave birth to the son. So I did that. I was under the supervision of Madam Mutige. She's in here. So she said, no, ma'am, you're doing well. You must carry on with this thing. So we had to celebrate casual day and all those stuff. From there, there was a CEO who is presently leading SATVETSA College, Mem Hlekani. Then she said, I'm taking you from class and you are going to work with students with disabilities. I said, it's okay. She didn't know that I have a son with disability. So I started working with those students. It was in 2019. We pushed, by then I had 38 students. The following year, there were 98. So I started buying gadgets, the technological devices. Everything went well. Come 2020, 2021, 22, 23, I had more than 100 students. So the other day, I was invigilating examination. So when I went back to the office, there was a call. There was a missed call, and I decided to call back. When I called back, there was a lady's voice who said, are you Shamana? Then I said, yes. Then she said, the deputy minister, is it Lindiwe? Mukopane Zulu. I heard the wonderful job that you are doing for students with disabilities. Now I want to give you a 20-seater lab. Do you have a class where you can do that? I just said yes. So from there, she said it will take 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, everything was done. The 20-seater lab was there with all the assistive devices. That is a state-of-art lab. So our students with disabilities are doing everything there. They do their homework, their assignments, they do their tasks, they write examination there. So we do apply for concessions for them, depending on the type of disabilities that we have. We have all those types that you can mention. We decided to take even those who were falling into cracks that were not taken by the TVET colleges. We are specializing with sensory disabilities. That is our deaf students and our blind students. Our first intake of deaf students was in 2019. And presently, we have 9 deaf students who have graduated.
Round of applause.
We also have 4 total blind students who have graduated.
Round of applause.
The 2 of them are working, and the other ones have decided to do the NATED courses. So as a college, we are doing well. A lot of colleges are coming to benchmark with us. So currently, I have 163 students with different types of disabilities, inclusive of the CP, those kind of disabilities that people think is difficult to handle. And we've got 1 who has graduated with CP. So as a college, I think we are far.
Beautiful. Very beautiful case study there. Now, Mr. Kholehlatla de Villiers, founder of Lubanzi Foundation. What does your foundation do as far as people with disability are concerned?
Thank you. Once again, can I explain to you why the Lubanzi Foundation? I was born with a disability. Back then, there was nothing that I could do for myself because the system was like that in those years. But I spent 11 years without wearing a shoe because I had what they call a club foot. And somewhere at the age of 11, my mom took me to a public hospital to measure a shoe. Fast forward, at the age of 31, I took out that shoe because I needed to fit myself in the shoe. That's how orthopedic shoes are measured. You fit yourself into the shoe, and it's tough. So if you're coming out of Baragwanath Hospital, those people that would know where Bara is, there's a bridge. Whenever those shoes have been fitted, we climb the bridge. As you are on top of the bridge, just on top of the freeway, you take the shoe out. You get to the nearest guy who's somewhere in the corner who's going to cut it so that you can be able to use it. But as I grew up, I then went to school, like any other person after matric. And in my second year, doing geology, I was informed after visiting the mines that I may not be able to complete my studies in geology because I cannot wear the protective shoes. That was another downturn. I pursued my studies in teaching, and I completed my degree in mathematics, went back to school, got back to Soweto, and got a school and taught mathematics. In 2003, I was at loggerheads with the principal because, you know, sometimes people are like myself who would not bend down in anything. You know, when you're teaching maths, you are also actually the guy who is actually in the forefront and you're going to be punished. And he then decided to have some young boys writing on my door, crippled maths teacher. There was nothing bad, colleagues. I was a cripple. I mean, that's my disability. Yeah, so there's nothing wrong. But what you are saying to me is, you have long been here, you have overstayed your welcome. Get out of this place, it doesn't belong to you. That's how I then joined the services theater and specialized on disability projects. But to cut the long story short, the Lubanzi 1XC Foundation, Lubanzi is my grandson, born with Down syndrome and a heart condition. 1XC stands for one extra chromosome. That's how it came in. What role do I play in the disability sector? I do disability awareness sessions, and I'm proud of that. Because we need to sensitize
Please, a round
the
of
community.
applause.
There are only 3 areas that we are functioning outside of that would determine whether we're doing things right. It's reasonable accommodation, understand the models that we have. Remember, we've got the medical model that sees us as having something to be cured. And you've got the charity model that says to you, somebody must give you something. That is sympathetic. Versus the 2 models that we think they are working for us, the social model and the human rights model. The human rights model sees me as a human being. In all the documents that you find around this country, including the Constitution. In fact, if you go to Section 9 of the Bill of Rights and Section 23, subsection 1, you will see in Section 9 it says the right to equality. And in Section 23, subsection 1, it says everyone has the right to fair labor practices. And this is very important because it does allude to the fact that we are discriminated based on our disabilities. I am saying, until such time that you know that I've got abilities, you will never stop saying I'm disabled. I am not. I have a disability. My disability is managed by me. Manage my abilities in terms of functionality. So the assessment has got to be done in functional capabilities, not in my disability. And I'm refusing.
A round of applause again, because that is very powerful. That is very powerful. Also, my good sir, I'd love to talk about self-acceptance. Because now the way you're speaking about yourself, a young person out there might not necessarily feel the same. What does it take for one to accept themselves, but also the role of the community here in making sure that such discriminations stop? Because one thing for sure, these leaders will be going back to their respective colleges. They will have to advocate. What is their role? But of course, starting with self first.
Program Director, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to say, I was listening from yesterday when the minister was talking. He spoke about 600 learners who never came back, who still have to be chased. 6,000 of them need to be chased to complete their qualifications. But I don't know whether the minister understands that out of that 6,000, maybe 5,500 would have some disabilities, undisclosed disabilities. That limits them from achieving their goals. Secondly, it's the society that we're living in that stigmatizes us. Who has to remove that stigma? It's yourself. So championing for the rights of persons with disabilities It's in the Constitution. You've got the white paper on the rights of persons with disabilities, which supports you as a person. You should not be afraid. This is one country that democracy has got to be practiced. And if that democracy has got to be practiced, you've got to stand up like women. You know, we've got our slogan says, nothing about us without us. And you come in, guys, and represent us when we are not there. How do you bring in a sign language interpreter without a deaf person? No, I'm asking. You want me to write in Braille, but you can't read what I'm writing. You've got to change. Now, the most important part is, program director, is the willingness to disclose your disability. You're not disclosing because you're saying, I'm schizophrenic. You're disclosing because you are saying to them, I've got a disability, it's enough. What would be your reasonable accommodation? Remember, reasonable accommodation means access to the built environment and access to information. That talks to universal accessibility, but it also talks to something very important. My rights to advocate for them, for those that are less privileged. I've got the right to do that. Now, in universities or TVET colleges, I'm just saying to you, prepare yourselves for the near future, because disability is not invited. You don't apply for it. You might meet it on the road. You must be ready.
You must be ready, most certainly. Round of applause again. I think this question will just cut across, starting from you, Mama. Uguti, now the curriculum in the TVET sector is transforming. Things now are changing. Perhaps, what are the most, I don't want to say basic, but I think with the lack of a better word, maybe what could be the basic disability infrastructural facilities that you think need to be prioritized in the TVET sector, especially now with the change that is manifesting?
Thank you, Program Director. As TVET colleges, we are fighting for each and every TVET college or campus to have a disability unit, because that is the heart of these students with disabilities. When there's no disability unit, they are so frustrated. It might be small when you start because you can't start big, but the unit should be there. Now that we are moving to the occupational programs, it's not like it's something new. Most of the students with disabilities are coming from the special schools where they were doing those things. They were doing that. It's not new to them. It's just that maybe we shall be having some of the occupational programs that are new to them. So that means as TVET colleges will have to be ready with our workshops. Think of a wheelchair user. Think of a blind student. Think of a deaf student, a student with CP. That means our workshops should be ready. But because this is coming very fast, I think we've been ignoring this. It's coming very fast. 2026, some of the colleges will be having those programs. Like, I'm seated here. At our college, we have got chef. I've got students who are doing clothing. I've got a deaf student who is now going to open a salon. She does the hairdressing things. So she was funded by NYDA. She'll be opening a salon soon. Wow. I have a blind student.
Round of applause.
I have a blind student who have started selling pigs. I have also a deaf student who have got poultry farming. He's also funded by NYDA. So we're just afraid of these things. They are happening there. It's long that they have been there. The problem is reasonable accommodation, universal design, the access. Are these students going to access our workshops? Are these students going to access our labs? The issue of sign language interpreter, somebody has alluded to that. So sign language interpreter, that means if we're talking about deaf students, the sign language interpreters should be there for the deaf students in whatever occupational program that they'll be doing. Think of a total blind student. You can say, no, a total blind student can't do anything. They can do radio broadcasting, TV broadcasting. The blind students, they're very good in massage. So that's another occupational program that as a college you can introduce. You can't say, no, we can't work with these students, etc. It's just unfortunate that we are fixing a moving plane. We can't say 2026, we are not ready, we are not registering you. TVET colleges, are you ready for students with disabilities, or are we still struggling? Academically so. We are still struggling. Ne? That means we are also going to struggle, but we shall get it right on the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama. The same question to you as well, Mr. Kgolehlahla de Villiers.
Thank you, Program Director. Again, I just want to add to what she has already alluded to. The most important part is acceptance. We need to change the method in which we're doing things. I believe that one of the most important things is having a syllabus that is broad, that doesn't address the needs of the person. Why would I be doing a subject that is not going to add value in me? TVET colleges, to me, are the best platform to talk about skills development and empowerment. That would lead to the best opportunity. I'll tell you something. If you see the failure rate in high schools or in primary schools, it's the fact that you want a child to do Afrikaans, as an example, and the child has no clue in what is happening in that particular field. The child is only interested in doing biological exercises like your chemistry, your biochem, and other exercises in the field. That's a chemist that you need to develop. The other kids are, as she is just saying now, in the Eastern Cape, 2 months ago, there was a toy at Ifata, one of the institutions that we have in the disability sector. They were denied an opportunity to do music, to participate in what the school calls extramural activities. Cooking is not an extramural activity. It's a skill. So what I'm trying to say is, colleagues, is that we need to restructure the learning opportunities so that anybody can come in and enjoy himself or herself. My grandson is not necessarily going to be able to read or write, and I can rest assure you today, but he can repeat and do anything and everything because I've got gadgets. We now can talk to you without writing it in Braille. We can communicate with you in the very same pattern in which you are communicating with me in writing, because we've got software in JAWS that does that exercise in many instances. So what I'm trying to say is, let us follow the new pattern. Let's make sure that TVET colleges become the gateway to the right direction. And the skills that are there are uniquely so important to that. But let us not add something that doesn't make value. Why would you add driving to a blind person? Why? I've got a gentleman that I left in the workplace, 2 of them. One of them is an engineer. He completed his master's in electrical engineering 2 years ago. The other one, they grew up and studied with their disabilities, impairments. They never stopped them. The other one has got honors in applied mathematics. He has just completed in a record time his MBA at WITS. So the disability cannot be put as a stop to your achievements. What is important is that the tools that are used to address that must be equitable to you. And what I'm saying is, you need to be aware of the rights of persons with disabilities, not to discriminate them based on what you call disabilities. What is important is that in terms of disability, I call disability a medical term, because it's what the doctors diagnose you with. It's not who you are. The impairment can be averted. The only thing that we're doing, we need to change the attitudes. Let's stop calling people names. Let's stop treating people differently. Persons with albinism, many of them have got nothing bad in themselves. But spitting in the chest once you see a person with albinism, it's a crime that you commit. Let's stop doing these funny things. And that opens the doors for everybody to be able to achieve the goals. My 20 years plus in the skills development arena have produced a number of persons with disabilities. But what I'm refusing is to assume that special schools are specialized education institutions. They are not. It must be a special institution that takes you to the next level. A special school is an institution that says, let them keep them there on their own. Because where are you going to work? After your schooling environment, after your fundamental education systems, what else comes in that is going to accommodate you? Do we have TVETs that are saying we only accommodate blind people? No, we're not. Do we have an employer that says I'm going to employ only the disabled one? No. Employment and opportunities in the workplace are created for everybody. Therefore, equity, not equality. Equality is there in the papers. You've got the white paper on the rights of persons with disabilities. You've got the technical assistance guidelines on the employment of persons with disabilities. You've got PEPUDA that talks to those exercises. You've got the code of good practice on the employment of persons with disabilities. You've got all these documentations available as a line to lead you to equality. But equity doesn't exist. Let's address that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, my lovely, lovely, beautiful panel member, the same question goes to you.
In my view, as they've already said a mouthful, and it's mainly be given an opportunity to strive. Because as Ndate said just now, the barrier is not with us. You know you've got difficulties up to here. It's the environment and the society that disables you as a person with a disability and looks at you as the barrier. Because when you wake up in the morning, you know I can drive. But the other person says you cannot drive. And you say, but I can drive because I know my limits. And if I say the sky is not the limit for me, same as in the colleges, the sky is not the limit for anyone. But if you are given the opportunity to excel and are given the right support, because the most important is support. The assistive device will come when there's support. And when I mean support, I mean emotionally, physically, you need to be supported. Any human being will go through challenges. We go through ups and downs. We don't wake up the same every day. Like you asked when we started, how was my heart? But if I'm not given the right support when I enter the gates of the college, either by the SRC, by the college itself, by the teachers, the lecturers, and what Mel was mainly emphasizing in terms of the disability unit, I think in terms of the units and the changes that are being introduced, it will be easier because when I started, there was no unit. Things were a bit difficult, but because there was support, we were able to move around. You end up finding ways. At work, when I started, my manager, you know when you enter into the workplace, the lady that spoke earlier on, there's no special employment. That was just saying now, it's just unfortunate with our system and our education system. You start as a child with a special need, you are taken to a special school. At a special school, you are treated special. Then you move to higher education, there's no special treatment. You are treated as any other student. You are in the same class with everyone that is normal. Then you are just given access. Then you go to the employer. When I entered the employment environment, there was no special. It took me 2 years. Actually, I was there as an intern for 2 years. Got a contract here 6 months. I didn't have an assistive device. And someone would ask, how did you manage? I wrote them emails that I could understand, and they would call me and say, what were you saying on your email? I once wrote my manager an email saying I'm done, when I was saying I'm done. I said, I'm done. He saw Doni. But he did not realize, because there was no assistive device when you enter into the workplace, then that makes the life easier for a person with a disability. But already at the TVET space, we were not given the opportunity to learn in a different sector, because you are then taught like everyone. So it was easy for me to adapt when I went into a workspace, because then I had to learn to live like everyone, to work like my colleagues, because I was not special. I'm still not special. Yes, now, 4 years later, I've got an assistive device. My employer bought me the assistive device. But because I've learned to manage with what I have and how I learn, I was able to run the ropes. So with the change, I believe the change will be good. And seeing that it's just said that the Department of Basic Education has not reached the level, because we usually say in our meetings, the transition then becomes difficult. There's a young boy, my sister's son, he's from a special school. As Ntate was saying, most people think special schools, something special is happening there. When this child finishes, they've got a degree and they can go and work. No, they leave special schools with nothing, because they were at a daycare center for 18 years. And according to the system, it says after 18 years of you being at a daycare center, eat, play, and sleep like a child that is at crash, bye-bye. Then now they must come to the society. They must belong somewhere. Where do we take them? And with the systems changing, hoping that the transition will be smoother, because when they leave the special school, they would need the skill to go to a TVET or a university, that they would have taken that side. Then they'll be able to move to the workplace and be placed somewhere.
Yeah. With everything you've just said, I think Utata summed it up very well. No, it was actually you, saying the barrier is not with those with disability, but the environment. And I love how you got also to answer my next question, because my question was going to be, how is the transition now from school to work? But you actually answered it very beautifully, so without me even asking the question. Yeah, round of applause. So now I think I'm just going to throw it at you guys. I think I have about, I'd say 5-10 minutes at least. Comments, questions. Okay, Mr. TK, please help me out. Right, so I'm seeing about my good sir here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll just take the 5 for now. For now, I'll just focus this side. Then if there's anyone this side, I'm just gonna take a second round. Please just keep your hands up so that I can just note you guys. Okay, so we're focusing this side for now. Okay, I'm not sure whether I could just come and my mic so that because of time.
Oh, thank you and good afternoon, everybody. And thank you very much to our panelists. I have 3 questions. The first one is that I know that it might not be direct to you, but you'll give us your perspective. That do you think the host employers are ready for people living with disability? Number 2 is that where do you think us as a TVET sector we can improve in order to accommodate you? And the last one, I would prefer it to be answered by Mr. De Villiers. When you mention that a principal also inspired a student to write crippled mathematics teacher, as audience, there's somehow that we felt, and we felt ashamed for you, or we felt sorry for you. I'm requesting you now to speak to someone in this who has a disability and who must not feel sorry for themselves and who must accept themselves. Thank you.
Good afternoon. All protocol observed. My name is Lungile Shabalala from Hartsibande TVET College SSS. We welcome the presentation from all the panelists there. My question is based on, because I am at Skills Academy, where we find ourselves having to work with the special schools, if I may call it, where students, after they've completed their year 4, in terms of the requirement from special school, then they'll have to move to the TVET space. And at Skills Academy, per se, because when they go and write their placement test, you'll find that when they fail, because we've got PLP, which is a bridging course, then they will be referred to Skills Academy. And when you find that those students, when they join the college, we now have a struggle. But my question says, what is the government's plan after the students from special schools finish their year 4, and as a transitioning to TVET colleges, including personnel, counselors, psychologists, and the lecturers on occupational programs, because you'll find that at their special schools, they've got all these personnel, and then when they come to the TVET colleges, we don't have that in terms of PPN. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, there was another hand.
Greetings to the floor at large, all protocol observed. Ngukunako Wakwapupulu, from Falls Bay College. My question goes to Ms. Maluleka. Hope I'm pronouncing the surname correctly. As SRC of 2026, how do we campaign or do awareness with intention of not to offend the disability, the people of the category or the word, with the stigma behind it? How do we make the awareness, hoping not to offend, just for them to actually be proud of the situation? Thank you.
As I stand up with a full stomach, I just want to ask only 2 questions, short and simple, to Ms. Maluleke. How are you coping with that disability of not being able to write and, is it read? Yes, because I've heard you mention that you are working at the SABC. I forgot the actual placement that you are working at. But I'm curious on how are you doing that right now? And then to Mr. Rolithatla, because club food is a person with a food that is, I don't know, but it's like, how did you take medication, or where did you go to fix your food? Because I can see right now you are wearing your techies, and people with club food wear those shoes of Masaya. Thanks very much.
Greetings to the house at large. My name is Utulisilo Ogamieni, Deputy President of Nkangala TVET College. My question is for the entire panel. I would personally like to know, Uguti, is there a possible bridge that you guys can cross together with higher health to help raise awareness, as my fellow colleague has already mentioned, on how we can help raise awareness to our fellow students without actually making them feel like we're feeling sorry for them or we're actually discriminating them? And then also my last question is for Umama. I think it's Miss Maluleke. I hope I'm not crisscrossing your surnames. How did you cope with actually raising a disabled child? Because I'm sure some of us here are parents as well. And also our officials are also parents. So I wanted to know, Guti, how did you cope with raising a disabled child without actually seeing that maybe mhlampe, you are an outcast to the society? Thank you.
All right. So, masiqale ngawe mama. The first question that goes to you was, do you think TVET colleges are actually ready to accommodate those with disabilities? That was the first question. And then the second question that also goes to you, where do you think TVET colleges can actually improve with the work that is already being done? And then now, the last question that was being referred to you was, how did you raise your child with disability without feeling ashamed of it, basically? Yeah. So those are the three questions that I referred to you.
Can you repeat the first one? So that
Do you think TVET colleges are ready to accommodate those with disabilities?
Thank you. We are the only people who can say we are ready. Because above all, this is attitude. It's about the attitude. When students come here, worse these days, they are applying online. You'll see them in January when you reopen. They don't even disclose. The issue of disability disclosure, it's a problem. They don't want to disclose because of several reasons. Maybe they are ashamed of themselves. They don't want to be treated special. Sometimes you'll find a student with disability. When you approach that student, he or she will tell you that I don't have a disability and I don't need your concession. You know, some disabilities are visible, some are invisible. Ne? So there are those with invisible. If they don't disclose, sometimes you'll find that they are not progressing. It's then that will pick it up there. Then when you talk to them, they'll end up telling you. So TVET colleges are ready, but this issue of not having relevant professionals, it's very much heartbreaking. DHET officials, your PPN gets in here. So I think in most of the TVET colleges, whatever happens to a student with disability, they will send that student to SSS official, the one who is working with students with disabilities. Let it be assignment, let it be maybe psychological problem or whatever issues that they have at home or academic problems. They will send a student direct to a person who is working with students with disabilities. So the issue is attitude. So how can we address the issue of attitude? By making more awareness, a lot of awareness. Make awareness maybe in groups. The management, you make awareness, you do awareness with the support staff, lecturers, you do in-house trainings every now and then. Let it be a continuous thing, that of awareness. Mostly when I do awareness, I invite people with disabilities. When I started school, I had this guy in my class who became blind in grade 4. I went to the college doing teaching. We worked for 3 years. My friend also became total blind. So those people, I make use of those people because when I'm talking about disability, when I don't have disability, sometimes people don't understand. So you take those people with disabilities, you put them in your programs. They talk to the audience. So it's better that way. You don't have to get tired. So the society is failing us. Now, looking at the doors, a wheelchair user is going out. That means somebody should have to stand and open the door. We should have automatic doors. Look at the lifts. When they get in the lifts, some of the lifts don't have maybe braille buttons. They don't have speakers where they can communicate with the blind students. So the community, the society, it's letting us down. As TVET colleges, people with disabilities are not sick. They don't need medications. They need our support. They are trainable. It's just that they need your time and your heart. We are all crafted by God, even people with disabilities. Anyone can become disabled any minute. Sitting here, I was on crutches for 3 years after being involved in a car accident. So I've got support in my legs, but you can't see. So disability is not a shame, and it's not inability. People with disability can do better than us. Let's accommodate them. Let's support them. You'll find that they are doing wonders.
Thank you, ma'am.
We are ready. Let them come.
We are ready, let them come. But now also just the last one briefly. How did you cope with a child with disability? How is that for you without feeling shame?
As a mother or as parents, each and everyone wants to give birth to a pilot, ne? A doctor. Huh? Can you see? So, unfortunately, when he was born, he was all right. It came along the way. So immediately when I picked up that there's a problem with my child, I decided not to have other children. But along the way, I told myself that one day I will die, and who will remain with him? And remember, when you're pregnant, it will come. Am I expecting a child with disability or not? So I've got 3 children. The firstborn is a boy. Secondborn is a girl. She's completing a university degree. The third one will be doing grade 11 next year. These children are so supportive. It begins with you as a parent to accept. If you don't accept, the community is not going to accept. When you are still going to school, I used to go to the school and say, okay, how's my boy doing? They said, no, he's doing well, he's picking up, hey, he's passing. I said, I am a teacher by profession. I know that he's not doing well. I'll go and say, oh, I'm coming to see my doctor, all those stuff. So the moment you accept that this is a present, this is a gift from God, and you're not going to change it, you live well with the boy. So even at home, they know that this one, it's very close to mommy. Mommy loves him a lot. I know children. So it starts with you. Then the people around you will then accept and support. You don't accept, it's a problem. You'll feel ashamed of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama. Round of applause. Now, quickly, let's move to you, Mr. Kholisahla de Villiers. I'm not sure whether you did note your questions down.
I did.
You did? Okay.
Now, I can answer question 1 with ease. If you look at me, I'm a chama boy.
Round of applause for that.
So, if you were to want to sympathize with me, you're in the wrong place.
Yes.
You needed to have empathy in working with me because I was an athlete. I was doing high jump without realizing that I'm not wearing shoes. I was playing football. I was number 1 in class, and I was always clean, being proud of myself.
Look at.
So you need to have pride in yourself, and the environment will just come in to you. So it's not a matter of saying you need to be sympathetic to yourself. Remember, once you sympathize with yourself, you become dirty. You become ugly. You know, if my wife would come in here and see you clapping, all of you, she would be very angry. Yeah, because that's how I am. So you make yourself that person, you must be proud of yourself. The other things will fall in. Very important in your life is to make sure that things that are done against you, be innovative. The reason why I changed that shoe and I'm wearing these shoes today, which I cannot wear any other shoes that is poor in quality, is because my parents for 11 years didn't buy shoes. For up to 31 years, I never bought a pair of shoes because I was given by Paraguay Hospital at no cost. So when the opportunity comes for me to buy for myself a pair of shoes, I need to buy the best.
Clock it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So I'm not sure, sir, whether you did capture the last question, which was about how did you seek and get medical help with regards to your legs? I think that was the last question.
Let me answer that question with simplicity. I don't think, guys, we understand the spread of what we call disabilities. What we are doing here, we are just covering the top. There are so many disabilities that they are uneven to calculate them or to count them. So anything that you see that is in me might not necessarily, at first, even social workers then would call me that is post-polio paralysis. But what happened with that, because I was not ill, I was not sick, I was not feeling any pain. So why would it be like that? When did it happen? Because post-polio paralysis happens after birth. You're not born with being paralyzed with polio. You get it after. So I didn't. I was born with the right foot, with all the toes, with the left foot, with no toes. And I cannot extend it. I went to all the pastors, I went to all the nyangas. No one could extend it. So why should I be worried about something that I cannot change? I made use of the opportunity and used myself as well. So that's how it worked. That's how I healed myself. In short, I was not sick. I don't have even any sickness that I can talk about. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Before I move to Ms. Maluleke, Mr. Sonti, I think there were two questions that were really speaking to government here. So I'm not sure whether my panel members will be able to respond to those two questions. There was a question about what is the government's plan with regards to the transition of learners that are coming from special schools, especially those that are doing year 4 to the TVET. What is the government's plan as far as everyone that is involved in that transition? And then the second question again, which I think DHET should be responding. There was a question about, is there a possibility for a bridge between higher health, I guess, with TVET colleges as far as closing or just creating awareness as far as disability is concerned? So a relationship between DHET and higher health to close the gap, basically. So I'm going to be fair. I think I'm going to let Ms. Maluleke to respond to her questions. Then I'm just going to close it off with DHET. I'm not sure whether you did note your questions, Sissy. Did you note them? Okay. Let me just come and assist you there. So there was a question to you about, as SRC members, how do they now campaign without offending those with disability, but still be able to send the message across? And then another question that goes to you. How now do you cope with disability, especially not being able to write or read? So those were the two questions directed to you.
Thank you. I think you missed the gentleman's question when he asked first, because he asked, is the employer ready?
Okay, yeah, I think I missed that
to
one.
employ people with disabilities.
Sure.
And from my take, sir, the employer is not ready. And I say the employer is not ready because having been a student who started in the employment with no assistive device. The employer is still trying to figure out, you know, when you are practicing, if science, they take a rat and they put injections to see if this rat can speak or sing. That's usually what happens. And when a person or young people with disabilities are then placed, I know, I'll make an example with us. There were 5 of us at South African Weather. One was epileptic, me with dyslexia, the other one with a small hand. The other lady was was epileptic too. The other lady was, her hand didn't work because she got involved into an accident. The gentleman with epilepsy got into an episode. With surprise, all the colleagues were talking about him. He was a laughing stock for 2 weeks. They let him fit, and no one knew what they were supposed to do. And we know when you have an episode, you're supposed to get help. No one attended to him. I didn't have an assistive device for that duration until I was a permanent employee, but because then I had to speak up to say, I'm now permanent, where's my assistive device? So it shows that the employer is not ready. And I'm not talking about where I am only, but I've seen most students with disabilities or most young people with disabilities end up not taking up jobs. They only stay in learnership after learnership after learnership after learnership, and that is crippling. To governments that is here, I would like to plead that at some point, can they interact with the employers that are taking students for wheel? Give them trainings, because I've started a program. I initiated a program with my employer currently. I'm advocating and creating awareness for disability at work.
Round of applause, please, round of applause. Beautiful work there.
I decided to take up a course in human resource. I'm doing a degree in human resource now because I had seen the gap. I saw that the employers are not ready to take up students with disabilities, because when they ask me to assist, no, Masingita, because we know you're doing advocacy and you get people with disabilities and students from Southwest Gauteng College, and I told them, no, I'm not going to help you now because you do not know what you want. 2, they'll ask for students, but they choose. We don't want blind, we don't want deaf, we don't want a wheelchair. What do you want? So the environment in the workplace is not conducive yet, because then you find your manager that cannot understand your disability. So moving on to the gentleman that asked me, how am I coping? My phone. Technology has made life easier for me. My family has made life easier for me. Even my 7-year-old daughter, when I need assistance with reading, I will ask her, so can you assist mommy? So why is it important to tell people around you what you are going through? Because then in those dark corners, dark moments, because when you've got dyslexia, we bounce in and out of depression quite a lot, because you are constantly reminded that tomorrow, if Coca-Cola, or it's not, but if Coca-Cola tomorrow changes the Coca-Cola bottle, we don't know what it is. We would think it's jig, maybe. If McDonald's changed the M sign, I might not know what is that. If you go to a bathroom, I get it's written toilet, and they remove the lady and they leave. So you're not sure, what's this? And you always need, even a taxi driver, I can ask, Puti, kuphalweni lapha? Ngifuna check us if they decide to change the logos. So that's how I manage. To the person that asked me how I manage, I use technology. I'm currently writing a book, and I didn't even realize that actually AI can become my best friend. I must tell AI what I want, AI will put it into effect. So I'm writing my book. Soon it will come out. You'll learn more about Masingita and my dyslexia, how difficult life has been. I don't have privacy, because then my husband has to read my messages. Worse, if people send me vernacular. Vernacular is not my language, I'm white maybe. Because then, I'm Tsonga, and my aunt would send me the X and the I's and the T's, and I don't know, what is this saying? Zulu even worse. So I communicate voice notes, but most people would ask me, we see you on WhatsApp, and we see you write nice statuses. I'm like, technology, guys. So I use detect. I tell the phone, it types down what I want to say. That's how I survive, and that's how I've been coping, and that's how I've been managing. And I think there was another question.
How do they, as SRC members, campaign now without offending those with a disability, but just be able to send the message across?
I think that it answered that. You know, nothing with us.
Without us.
You must say it out loud. I get it now. We are teaching you. Nothing about.
Nothing about us.
Without
us.
So how do you campaign without me? If you are going to campaign about me, don't you think I should be there? I get you're talking about me. So if you are going to talk about disability, but you do not have a person with a disability, it's, for an example, I speak about TV. We now see movies and we see actors. If you've seen how TV has evolved, previously you would see a person on a wheelchair but who's not naturally disabled. They are acting as a disabled person, I get. Then people with disabilities complain to say, but this person can't be acting us when they are not us. They will not act proper. So for you not to make the mistake of offending, people with disabilities understand. You know, me and my peers on my group, because we've created our own space, we call ourselves Takalani. You know why Takalani? Because people would call us Takalanis because they don't know what's wrong with you, but something is wrong. So if you grew up in Soweto, there was a school, a special school that was called Takalani, where special kids would go. So we would call ourselves Takalani, and then we know it's us. So we don't worry, you will not step on our toes, but invite us, involve us in your advocacy, in your awareness, because you are wanting to talk about me, you want to create awareness about me, so that the other one that is at the college and did not disclose, when they see a Masingita or a Tabo or a Peter with a wheelchair, who's blind, who's deaf, in the advocacy, speaking as message, speaking in the podium saying, this is my disability, this is who I am, then that child that is sitting in the corner not disclosing will come out. Then it will be easier, you will not offend anyone. But if you want to do it alone, then that's where you will have issues, because this, us, will come back and say, but you are talking about us, but we are not invited in the party. We did that at college. At Southwest, we led a toi-toi. Okay, I led a toi-toi. We toi-toied, me and my blind fellow students. I get when they are blind, so they can't see where we are going. Mina, I can see where we are going. And then we got into the stage, and we were 5 of us. We caused chaos. And the manager of the campus came and said, we are here, Masingita, what are you guys doing? We are toi-toing. Our assistive devices are not here. We are writing exams. And most people were looking at us, are these people really toi-toing? Those ones are with walking sticks. But our message was heard because we were what? Toi-toing for us. And then other people started noticing that we had cries. As much as we were 5, but they heard blind people are toi-toing at the library. They want stuff. So that's why I'm saying involve us. It will be easier for you to advocate. Thank you.
Lovely. Okay. All right. Now to the government official, but just before I throw it to you, Mr. Sondi, please just give us like 15 more minutes, just for the last round of questions, because there were hands that side that we did not recognize. At least after the HET, at least I'm going to take the last round of questions. Do you give me that? Oh, well, okay. Over to you, sir.
No, thank you very much. Or should I face this? No, thank you so much. The first question was that what is it that the DHET can do
Yes, sir.
to really ensure that we support the articulation of students to universities? Now, I think from the department side, we have come up with a policy on articulation, right? And so, but the policy in itself is not enough, right? And so you need to ensure that you are able to enforce that policy. Now, what we then encourage, where there are challenges that institutions are encountering, as the department, we step in to support those institutions. But what we do encourage is for colleges themselves to establish these partnerships with universities for students with disabilities. Now, one of the colleges that are doing very well in this regard is Bold. I think the colleagues from Bold and TVET College can speak to this at length. And so there is that ongoing working relationship with the university so that these universities are ready to admit our students. And so we really encourage our colleges where they encounter challenges, we are there to provide support in engaging with the universities. As I'm saying, the policy is not enough. There is some work that needs to be done between ourselves and colleges and universities. Now, the other question has got to do with really what can be done between ourselves and higher health to ensure that we intensify support for students with disabilities. Now, there is still room for improvement in this regard. I think, let me just start there to indicate that there is room for improvement between ourselves and higher health in respect of intensifying our support for students with disabilities. But as a starting point, as the department, we came up with a policy framework on disability support for students in TVET colleges. And so colleges are then required to use this policy framework in developing their own individual college policies. But over and above that, what do we, from our department as well, what do we have, from a policy perspective, we have pushed to say we need to ensure that we increase the support that we provide to students with disabilities. And that is why, as a department, we are strong proponents of the N+1 rule, the N+2, that when it comes to students with disabilities, let's ensure that we intensify the support for students with disabilities. Now, there is the question that Mem Notanda was making to say, at a college level, there is still a need for more support. Now, from the department side, there's been an acknowledgement that there is a need for us to review the current PPN. And so all of us are agreeing that there is a need to ensure that the current PPN is being reviewed. Now, it's not only in terms of the students with disabilities, there is also acknowledgement that we need to review as a whole the student support units in TVET colleges to ensure that we strengthen other areas of support for the students. Now, from the department's perspective, we have identified the establishment of DSUs as really a strategic intervention. And so ultimately, as the department, we intend to support all the 50 TVET colleges to establish the disability support units. I think, I'm not too sure whether other colleagues have got any additional input to make in this regard. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Round of applause. Okay, so Mr. Sondi did not really give me the 15 minutes, right? So, but I think I can just break some rules a bit. So I think I can just take about, 3 hands, ne? But also just, so many hands, oh my God. Mr. Sondi. Okay, I think this is how we can do it. I think I can only just take 3, ne? Because also I do not want to keep you for long. I think we all need to go home. So maybe what we can do, maybe after the panel has actually stepped down, you can just any of them and just ask whatever question that you have. But now, Mr. Sonti, how do I choose the 3 now? Because you. Okay, Mr. Sonti will choose for me because Nandian Saba name Nandian. So Mr. Sonti will choose for me. Thank you. And also, please just keep it to 1 question there because of time. Then any other additional question, you can just pat them and then you ask your question. Thank you.
Good afternoon, colleagues and leadership. My name is Mbuso Shawalala. I'm the SRC president from Obi TVET College. My question is based on the statement that Ms. Chamano, Ms. Chamano, am I right? Okay. She stated that we need a disability unit. So my question is going to be directed to the government. How can the government assist the TVET sector in terms of implementing the disability unit that was mentioned to be a need, and ensuring that the students with disabilities will be accommodated and well taken care of, especially seeing that we are, moving in a new direction with these occupational programs? I thank you.
Okay, okay, Ben kan hear me. I am Erika Mostert. I am the president of Boland College for 2026. I have dyslexia and ADHD and a whole bunch of other things as well. And I just want to say thank you to all three of you for sharing your experience and sharing how you deal with things, because I know from personal experience, it's not easy to deal with anyone, because there's been things that has been said to you when you were younger, or for you that has a child that has disabilities knows there's things that get said to them, and it's not easy to deal something. And I just want to say thank you so that you guys are talking about it and that people can learn about it, because I have my vice here, and she has asked me the whole time, okay, but what's that? What's that? And I have been explaining to her, and it makes me sad that there's so little people that actually know what it is and the disabilities that we deal with, that we were born with, that we didn't have a choice. And no one is there to help us and to make our lives just a tiny little bit easier, because it's not their issue, so why must they deal with it? So I just want to say thank you so much that you guys actually came here today and talked about what happened in your lives and your experiences. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I actually agree. We're fine.
We're fine. Okay, we're fine. On that note, thank you so much. You've been just a great audience. You guys are amazing. May you now go back to your respective TVET colleges and just do the work and make a difference in other people's lives. Thank you so much. Over to you, Mr. Sonti.
Can I say something? It's me again. I'm here representing HEDSA. HEDSA is Higher Education Disability Association Services. It's a non-profit organization that is advocating for students with disabilities. So you have to affiliate and become a member. HEDSA is helping people, officials who are working with students with disabilities. They have conferences, and if you invite them, they can come and workshop your officials. Please take note of this, and this is serious. So we also advocating for the disability portfolio to be taken by students with disabilities. Thank you.
Okay. Let's do it properly this time. Up until I tell you to stop. Okay. Thank you so much. TK, it's not okay. Thank you so much, colleagues. Thank you so much. Let's also give a good round of applause to our moderator. Come. Siyabulela. Siyabulela. Thank you so much. You moderated a very sensitive topic, and you did it with professionalism and maturity. Thank you so much. Now, to Mema Luleke, to our handsome gentleman, to our colleague from Bembe, for a panel after lunch, you woke us all up. focus all up. You know, I was fighting people in the morning, but you've changed my mood. We are indebted to you, colleagues. We are learning. We will continue to learn. We also appreciate the fact that when we make mistakes, you call us right then so that we can learn. So that we can learn. Siyabulela, we are indebted to you. And I want us to be, you dedicated the whole day. We do not pay you. The only thing we did, Shame, was to give you food. You dedicated the whole day to stay with us. Mr. De Villiers, yesterday and today you've been religiously with us here. We are indebted to you. Siyabulela kakhulu. Now, this becomes our last presentation for the day. So I was laughing because Ms. Maluleke used his name to refer to what you guys refer yourself as. Mr. Takalane Rachelumela from Southwest Gauteng will give a presentation. Let's give him a good round of applause.
Afternoon, colleagues. Afternoon, colleagues. Okay, good. Masingita, when in another forum, when I introduce myself, my name is Takalan Rachulumera. So people laughed. Everywhere they laughed. It's a stereotype, but I'm used to that. So we apologize for that. Yeah, I'm requested to come and present work placement implementation. Of course, we will be looking at the best practices at Southwest Gauteng TVET College. As you have heard, Ms. Maluleke, she kept on referring to the best practices as far as other unit is concerned. We are told that Southwest Gauteng TVET College is the TVET College of the land because it is the only TVET college which offers distance learning. So, when Sonti asked me how many slides I was saving, I said it's close to 53 slides. But he then requests that at least we can streamline them to at least 15. But when I was looking at Mr. Gaza there, and then he did not agree with the 15, and then they said, we'll just give you 5 minutes to at least run your presentation through a fast mile fashion. So, yeah, the issue of technology now is a problem. That's it. Oh, the green arrow. Okay. Oh, okay, thank you very much. Yeah. So on the introduction then, we're not going to bore you much on the introduction. We just want to lift that the college facilitates this work placement opportunities so that we ensure that you guys, the learners, gain a relevant workplace exposure aligned to the programs of the studies, different studies which you have enrolled at the colleges. And that the workplace-meant initiative aims to bridge the gap between theory and the practice. And that the work placement program improves employability. I think everybody is aware of that. It also strengthens partnerships with industry and support the college's mandate to produce skilled and work-ready graduates who meet labor market demands. And in the background then, we just want to leave the issue of legislative mandate, Mr. Gas, to say that there is one gentleman yesterday mentioned a white paper on post-schooling. I think it is explicit. It emphasizes the work-integrated learning. The Continuing Education and Training Act, 16 of 2006, as amended, it mandates the TVET colleges to provide vocational and occupational education linked to workplace learning. And of course, there is a dare at will policy. The NDP, Tiwo Formaludi, and I have seen Martin here. The campaigners of Tibet must rise. Perhaps you need to have a debate with those ones who are here, the students who are here today, to say that why are we keeping quiet when the NDP target has been revised from initially 2.5 or 2.5 million enrollment at TVET colleges to just 600,000. What does it say to access? I think there's a need for us to resuscitate that movement. So, but it's also emphasizing that NDP. Of course, also the CETA grant regulations. It also speaks to why we need to have this work-integrated learning. So we also want to leave that the college placement initiative include work-integrated learning, internships, the work-based learning, apprenticeships, and experiential learning opportunities across all various programs in the college. And that the primary purpose of this college placement program is to bridge the gap between theoretical instruction and practical workplace application, thereby enhancing learner employability and work readiness as well as occupational competency. Maybe moving to strategies, why the college is doing very well. We have streamlined that 53 slides to just 15. There are some figures there, but when we were engaging with Sonti was saying that you come and give the figures here, it will be seen as if you are bragging. So we will try not to brag too much. The first strategy there talks to the issue of strengthening industry partnerships, that we establish and maintain formal partnerships with the public and private sector employers through memorandum of understanding. So today we are sitting at 68 memorandum of understanding having given the target by the department of 54. That is for only 2025. That on the partnerships, the college were given actually we target 230 partnerships for 2025. Unfortunately, we could not reach the target for 230. We could only manage 213. So we're still lagging behind. So that can give you at least an idea why we are doing very well as far as learner placement is concerned. The employer engagement and advocacy. We conduct regular employer outreach. I think that sometimes there was a newspaper called New Age. They were doing very well as far as that issue of them of having breakfast meetings, because that is where they will at least coordinate people so that they can come and talk to the needs of the community. The unfortunate part is that they were aligned to the Guptas, but I think the concept, it was very good. So as a college, we are doing that, of course, on our own. The employer, okay. The learner readiness profiling. Yeah. Now we know why the question papers were leaking. Yeah. So this program, Prepare Learners for Placement through Workplace Readiness Program, covering employability skills, health and safety, work ethics, and professional conduct. Professional conduct. Profile learners according to the qualification, competencies, and employer requirement. Our students, the profile, age profile of our students, they are fairly young. Sometimes when you send them to the employers, they behave the way young people are expected to behave. So before they go there, we do that particular exercise. Placement, matching, and coordination. We match learners to host employers based on the program requirements. Geographical accessibility. Of course, managing the issue of the transportation and the stipend where there's a need. We do also monitor and support. We implement structured monitoring system, which include site visits. There are progress reports which are given, employer feedback to track learner performance and address the challenges. And of course, when we come back and learners come back, we subjected them through the review, which is done through survey. And then we will use that feedback to then improve. So the next part is our implementing funding partners. We have got several of them. As we indicated, the number of MOUs which we have and also the partnerships. We do have SITAs there. We do have a National Skills Fund, departments, private sector employers, and industry partners, as well as development agencies and donor organizations. Yeah, of course, we also engage with public sector institutions. We have got a memorandum of understanding with the Gauteng MEC of Health to give access to all Gauteng provincial hospitals. We've got a memorandum with Defy, Gibela, Huawei, SAFESA. I think there was one presenter yesterday who mentioned that the PRASA is moving away from the yellow stock to blue stock. So the Gibela, they are doing very well to also support our program. Of course, the last one is the SOEs. The partners continues. You can read them there, you can see them there, SAICA, and then you mention them. Of course, you can't at least push away the community-based and non-profit organizations. They play a very important role. Because we are based in Soweto, we are working with Maponya Group and Soweto Township Holdings. Of course, all the SMME, that area. We've got Tutukisa and Afrox, which is supporting our Center of Specialization. I hear speakers talking to the issue of the PPN. And I was thinking aloud to say that, Mr. Gaza, the acting RM, maybe we are crying in a wrong funeral. Because we don't think that PPN is going to come and solve all our problems. And the reason why we are doing very well is because the college have established what is referred as a WBE structure there. It's the work-based education structure. And we have cascaded that thing to all the campuses. So if you go to your structure of the PPN, you won't find those positions there. You won't find them. And I want to believe that we are not a glorified high school. And some of I think the PPN just provide the framework. And then from that, we have to work from that. So we have got a new business development unit manager who's running that in a similar fashion. The way we have established the disability unit at the college with a dedicated staff. If you were to rely on your PPN, it's going to be impossible. The support, of course, which is being given by the senior management is amazing, up to at the campus level. The college have made resources available. You can't find this in the PPN. The college provides necessary resources to support effective implementation. There's a dedicated college official vehicle, each and every campus, just to deal with this issue of learner placement. And of course, the cell phones, the laptops, and the data. And because of that, the successful implementation of this work placement program at the college have yielded the following result. It has increased graduate employment, the completion of work learning requirement also led to increased graduate rate. It has strengthened the employer partnerships, as I indicated how many we have for only 2025. And of course, the college image, the reputation, and it has contributed to what the NDP priorities might have prescribed. And of course, increasing transition from your classroom to employment. Just to perhaps before we deal with the conclusion, just few numbers on the targets. For the N6 who were looking for 2025, who were looking for their experience to get their diplomas. We were targeting 1,400. And today, on the 13th, the actual numbers are sitting at 2,113. The learnership for 2025, we were targeting 2,000. And today, we are sitting at 2,206. And of course, this includes 30 learners sponsored by there was a speaker here from WR-CETA. They've sponsored 30 learners with the qualification of the learnership generic management at NQF level 5. On the skills program, we were targeting 1,700, and we are sitting at 1,994. And of course, on the apprentices, we were targeting 230, and we are sitting at 315. And the point we are making is that the learners who are exiting level 4 and 6, we make sure that there's no learner who exit without being exposed to work readiness programs. And we are saying that in conclusion, through effective coordination, monitoring, and continuous improvement, the college ensures that learners gain meaningful exposure, employers benefit from skilled learners, and the overall quality and impact of the workplace learning are maximized. So that is the end of our presentation, but the point we are stressing here is that we will have to think outside the box if we were to get this thing right. Otherwise, we are not a glorified high school. And we think that even if there is a review of PPN, it's not going to come and resolve or solve all the problems which you are having. So that is my legal presentation, streamlined from 53 slides to 15. Thank you very much.
Let's give him another round of applause. Okay, let's give Southwest Gauteng a good round of applause. And tomorrow we'll have one of their students who would speak about the actual support that he was talking about, not just numbers. He's a former SRC president. He was a very naughty child at that time. Him and Tebo, very naughty at that time. He now works for Tshwane North TVET College. They employed him there. Just stand up, Martin, so that we properly congratulate you. It's there now. Yeah. So he will also get his spotlight tomorrow. It's time to shine. So thank you so much, Datera Chulumel. And for me, colleagues, I think the genesis of what we are doing has to result to what the college was presenting about. We must not just register students, but we must register them with an end in sight. We must know that I always argue, Mr. Mdiru, and say, when you go and advertise as marketers, you want students to come and join your colleges, you must already know where they are going to go after completing the programs. Ne? So that we don't just register for the sake of registering. If we say colleges are the backbone of our economy, we must start to show that as well in how we place our students. We make sure that we don't educate for unemployment. I will take only one round of questions if there is. I'll start with the naughty corner. If you don't raise your hands there, I'll note you. So, compete, who's going to raise their hand first? Skukune has decided to represent you all. We will move to this group. If I look at you, you look at the other way, I'm going to note you, ne? Yeah. Sfiso from China South will ask there. Now I'm here. Bembe decided to represent you. Slapa. Machuga, don't ask. I think you have. Waterbeck, don't ask. Poland, don't ask. Flavius will represent you. Martin will speak tomorrow that side. Skukune, it's your time to shine. Brian, no, Mandugiak. Now, upati mic. Yeah. Ahlala phansi mntu makayumbali.
Greetings once again. My name is Moloto Gwena, the Secretary General of Sekhukhune, the mighty Sekhukhune TVET College. My questions are directed to the presenter of K. Boneng. I don't remember them mentioning if the academy is a private institute or a public institution, sorry.
Let's focus on the last presentation.
Last presentation?
Yeah.
Oh. I had the Southwest official mentioning that they are profiling learners, students according to the qualifications. It's not a question, but rather a comment or a proposal. I would like to propose that this student profiling, let it start colleging when we are still studying. Because during our studies, we get to find that students are actually going through difficulties, but lecturers are not doing anything about it. So if lecturers profile learners according to their cognitive level, that would be very much productive, and knowing that they should introduce what we call differentiated lecturing or differentiated teaching, because you cannot take the high cognitive student with the low cognitive level of a student in one basket. So let this learner or student profiling start in the classroom. Okay. That's what I was trying to. Thank you.
So, yes, thank you, the mighty Skukune, Samakarapa, Sfiso. Yeah. So you raise a very important issue.
No one is saved. Huh? Thank you so much, Mr. Swande. Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Fiso Lainet Shabalala, the SRC president from Tshwane South TVET College. So my take from the presentation from Mr. Takalani I think my question now I have to ask is that I know we understand that we are in a sector of being technical. So how do they ensure that they recruit students with the same mentality? Because you understand that students are doing courses that they actually thought that this is something they want to do just to push time because of there was no space or anything. But how do they ensure that the quality that they recruit is up to par and that the throughput that they get throughout the year is actually the one that they need? I think that's my take from that presentation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, one college that troubles us. You know, Mr. Mudiro, we have those Friday protests from Tshwane South, Bembe. By the way, even this Friday, your students were there at the head office.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mr. Sonti. On the WBE, please allow me to go a bit deeper on that one. We have the WBE, a moment ago.
Keep the mic closer to your mouth.
A moment ago, there was a speaker who said, what if the training that I'm getting is not exactly what I was looking for or what I was anticipating? So my take on that, or my comment on that would be, can it be possible for the institutions to have that on an ongoing process to a point whereby you register now, you know exactly what you're going to be exposed to a point of going, your first exam, I'll put it like that, whereby you, instead of you being 90% in class, you have to be mixing all this so that from scratch, you know exactly what you're doing, because we have a lot of people who are doing exactly what they did not study for, what they did not like, but just because they're hungry. So is there a way that you guys can, or the department can show us exactly what we be exposed to within our first trimester or so? Because in most cases, like what you just said, a person would be doing something that they do not like or they're not excited about, or something they did not want to, they're just doing that because of hunger. To eliminate that, can't it be possible for you guys to come up with a way whereby if now I'm coming in, I get exposed to exactly what I'm going to be doing, so that I decide for myself, going, is this the path that I want to go, or is this, or if that's not the right path I should be going? And on that, already now with the people that you have who are doing exactly what they did not want to be doing, but are doing it out of poverty, do you have any measures on how you can best assist those people? Let me not waste so much time. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Just wait. There's a phone that we found in the female toilet. I see they are trying to call it. Uncing is calling in that phone. Zibambile. Yam for now. It's under house arrest. Flavors here. Next to Princess. And Flavors next to one. If you can look at the other side, there's Flavors there. You worry? Yes, you. The two who were here. Nah, bye.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mtabeli Mfani, Flavors America president. Now my question is about occupationals. I want to understand, I'm in occupation, I do hair care. So my problem is, when I go to practicals, does the DHEad allow us to take our practicals anywhere in South Africa, like any province, because I'm in Free State?
Okay. I think, Bavenda, you'll be able to even answer that one, because a college is DHEad, yeah? DHEad is not just Pretoria, ne? Colleges are DHEad. But let's take the mic to Takalani there. So can you do your practicals anywhere? Kyani kwa. The second issue was around career counseling. The other issue was around your catchment area and the type of students you are attracting. How do you manage that? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the rest goes to Mr. Mudir. Mine is only that one for practicals. One day we were attending the Eastern Cape convened the research colloquium. And there was a speaker there. The doctor was presenting from one college. I think it is in around Mtata. So that doctor is saying, why you're saying that we must offer occupational programs, whereas we don't have industry. And I think he mentioned the campus which is situated around Port St. John's. And one person was responding to say that, the work integrated or practicals, the industry, does it have to be ESCOM? If you have chosen your PQM according to the needs of your community. And the person was trying to make a point that when you are in Port St. John's, I've never been there. Each and every household there, they've got a plant. Sonti. Where I come from in Limpopo, each and every household, that type of far Limpopo vendor. If your household does not have a mango tree or ever, means that you are very lazy. But I'm told at Port St. John's is the saying, if your yard does not have insangwa, it means that you are also very lazy. You see. So why will be the business of why the college in Mtata will offer business management at that particular area, whereas they've got the niche of what need to be produced there and so forth and so forth. So I think in my presentation I did mention community-based organization and also NGOs and SMMEs. I want to believe that around Sasolburg, I've been Sasolburg, or maybe it's the campus which is in Kronstadt, I've been there. When you go to the town there are a lot of people, maybe some of them who might not be citizens. You see people doing hairs there. Maybe they are not specializing on what the students is specializing, but we want to believe that you don't have to formalize the issue of practicals if you are doing that hairdressing. We think that you can get a useful exposure if you were to align with that. You don't have to travel for that work exposure. I think you said you are the SG of the president. You are the SG. No, we want to believe that the contribution which you are making is very valid. And I think it's not directed to me, coming from Southwest, it's directed to each and every college. That, and also the department which is here, that as and when they are choosing their learner profile when the student enter the gate, that profiler should also try to incorporate what we have raised. I'm not sure if I still have to respond, Mr. Mudir. I think the rest is for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Sonti. I was talking with the colleagues, and they will deal with the question around the administration of the selection and placement tool at the college level. And as you rightly said, these are DHET employees as well. So let's hear firsthand how they administer this tool. But the question that I want to respond to, I think was posed by one student leader there, around the placement of students for purposes of experiential learning. Now, let me answer your question this way. So about 2 weeks ago, we met as principals, together with the principals, the TVET branch met together with the principals at Northlink TVET College. And the principal of Northlink was sharing with the other principals. Basically, it was around the whole, introduction and scaling up of occupational programs. And the principal of Northlink was sharing that one of the occupational programs that they have introduced, they've got about 38 industry partners. And he was saying those industry partners are not just confined to the Western Cape, but throughout the country. And so the point that I'm making is that in terms of establishing partnerships with industry for purposes of placing students and lecturers, colleges do not have to confine themselves to the immediate surrounding areas. They are, at liberty to go beyond the immediate areas, beyond their provinces in establishing these partnerships. And a number of colleges do that. Your Waterberg TVET College, or Majoba TVET College, a number of colleges are doing that. They are not confining themselves to their own provinces. Spiso?
No, good afternoon, colleagues. In terms of, I'm Sfiso Nkosi, the chairperson of the most progressive forum in the whole country. In terms of the placement, the career counseling, firstly, we just need to reimagine the provisioning of student support. We need to differentiate between career counseling and career guidance. So that's where the challenge starts. And in us reimagining the provisioning of student support, it means our marketing managers are here. As they go out and market, our catchment, our feeder as colleges, it means we must go down there, and pre-entry starts there. So that's where career guidance should start in high school, so that by the time they come to universities or TVETs, they have an idea what is that they want to study. But every college has got a placement test that you do. When you apply, you must do a placement test. So that placement test is actually a career guidance tool, because it will place you to say, we are strong in this, therefore you can go the engineering route, or you can go the report 191 business route, whatever the case may be. But then when you come to campus to register now, as part of the SOP, there must be career guidance now to say that now that you've chosen this course, you said the placement tool says you can do engineering, but you want to do business. Now there's a clash there. That is where career counseling now must come in, and in-depth counseling of what you have chosen. But if you said you want to do career, you want to do business, and also the placement tool confirms that you are more or less placed 80% in the correct, stream that you must follow. So basically, we must strengthen the pre-entry aspect of it by reimagining the provisioning of student support, by checking our feeder schools and taking it down to primary schools and high schools that feeds us as a college. Then we start the career counseling and guidance there. Thank you so much.
Okay. So for me, it's not, student support is just but one component. Ne? You need to reimagine how a college functions so that all components are able to speak to one another, yeah? So that I always argue that marketing cannot market what they do not know. The content does not come from marketing, it's situated in one place of a college, but if those two do not speak to each other, you will find that there's a misalignment. Ne? You'd find that we keep on recruiting the wrong students for the wrong programs and they do not stay in our systems. Ne? You'd find that you always have those misalignment in terms of what happens within the colleges. And I think recently Mr. Mdiru had approved that we go to regions where we're really enforcing that colleges, even at a macro level, at a campus level, a student support practitioner must know what happens in a lecture room. An HOD must know that what happens within student support, and they need to know when to report if SONT is not performing well, so that there can be interventions around that. Ne? So we need to reimagine the whole functioning of a college, not just student support. Because one thing I've noticed is that, you see, even here, we are colleagues, ne? But we keep on referring to each other, triple S and marketing. You go to the head office, you'll never find someone say, oh, this is HR, this is this is TVET. In the head office, we're all DHT. We'll only hear when we explain to you what roles we play, ne? But in reality, we just know how one functions in that. So we need to reimagine that as well. Colleagues, I think, there's a saying I want to say in Sesotho. So we're going to let our dignitaries leave, but the rest of us are going to be up until maybe around 7. Let me explain to you why. How many of you understand Southern Sotho? Just by a show of hands. Southern Sotho. Maparakobo. How many do you have? So there's a saying ka Sotho, ne? E reng le jewa ke dinta tsa kobo tsa lune, ne? Now, if loosely translated is you are getting beaten, what do they call them? By bugs from your own blankets. So the fact that you did not wash your blankets for a long time, now they now have bugs. Because of you not washing them, the bugs are now punishing you. Ne? No, Mr. Mdiru, I'm joking. I'm going to release everyone at the same time. So, colleagues, I want to be clear as well. TK, where's TK? We're done. So I want to be clear as well.